Yo, welcome. Our timing is completely off, but the countdown is super awesome. I'm starting to enjoy it, to be completely honest. I don't know about you. How do you feel about it, Sal?
We'll get there eventually. I mean, the time will get better as we move on.
And who knows, we might just have our own intro by maybe, I don't know, 2024. No, I'm just kidding. Way sooner than that. But yeah, it is what it is for now. The enjoyment factor is, like I said, increasing show by show. This is the third time that we used it. But yeah, anywho, it's September 9th, Wednesday, 7:30, a little earlier than usual for us, but it's gonna be a quick one. Yeah, boy wants to watch Inter Miami make up a game against Atlanta United. So hopefully we continue being undefeated at home. And I want to say get a dub. I'm tired of draws, especially. Well, I'll give you the sad news later. But anywho, how you doing, Sal? How's everything going over
Uh,
there?
it's burning again. Yay! We're on fire.
You're on fire again.
We're on fire again. I'm looking outside my window and it's orange. If you can't tell from like me, I'm looking extremely orange today.
We do,
So
yeah.
yeah, that's the sun out there being covered by ash. I go outside,
Yeah,
the car's covered in ash.
because I was seeing like on, was it Twitter? I believe. I think it was Twitter or Instagram. I'm not sure. It was one of the two, but like I think it was like Northern California or like Portland. It's like
Yeah.
red. It's like blood red,
Oh,
bro.
so one of my friends, she lives in Oregon, and she literally took a picture like at 2:30, and then all of a sudden at 3:45, it went from clear blue to blood orange in that amount of time. So it's crazy how fast that went. And then in San Francisco, where another friend of mine is, it's like it looks completely dark. It's like the sun never came up. So it's hilarious the way California is right now. Well,
That's
California and
totally funny.
Oregon.
Yeah. Well, hopefully everybody's safe over there. Hopefully there's man, this year is just adding up more and more crazy ish as we go. So anywho, we're gonna bring you some deportes. Mainly two teams. We're gonna go MLS today. We're gonna bring it stateside. We're gonna let Europe do its thing for a little bit, which we should probably. Well, me and Sal will talk about that after. Anywho, so yeah, we're bringing it stateside, and there's only two teams that matter. Well, one team for me, one team for Sal. For me, it's gonna be Inter Miami. For Sal, it's gonna be the Galaxy from Los Angeles, and one of those teams are doing pretty damn well. The other team is well, finding its feet, finding its identity. I have no idea how to explain it, but anyways, the standings so far in the Eastern Conference is Columbus is first, Philadelphia is in second, Toronto in third, crappy Orlando in fourth, and then New England in fifth. And I'm gonna stop there, because then it gets a little bit tighter, a little bit more interesting. It is what it is. Um, okay, and then the Western Conference is actually a lot more tidier than the East. We have what is it? Kansas City in first, Seattle. Let's go, baby. I miss that team so much. It hurts. Seattle in second, Minnesota in third, LA Galaxy in fourth, Portland in fifth, and then
Hmm.
sixth, seventh, yeah, all that good stuff. So we just give you top five from each. Um, what's the good news over in Los Angeles, Sal?
A certain striker, number 14, Mexican superstar, is returning to practice. Ooh, everybody,
Oh, yeah, I thought you
ooh.
said you were excited. I thought this
Yeah,
was
I mean,
good
if you,
news.
yeah, if you haven't seen my tweet tomorrow, then you know my excitement. I was popping bottles left and right for the man who, I'll give him his due. I mean, he would finish a lot of those goals in front of net, so he will make them. good, addition back to the Galaxy. But as of now, the way the team is playing, I don't want him near that team. I don't want him near the team. I want him on the bench. I want him as far away because it it's good football. I mean, it's good soccer. They're attacking when they need to attack. They're sitting back and they're pressing when they need to press. Not only that, we have the MVP of what will be the league MVP in Christian Pavon, who is basically running circles around defenses. No one seems to catch up to him. And past game, if you did see us play against LAFC, poor Latif Blessing was flying again. And if you haven't seen the memes, then I'll start posting them again because this guy is like every time he plays the Galaxy, whether it was against Lazan, Pavon, it doesn't matter who it was, he goes flying. Literally goes flying. It's like he wants to dive, but instead of diving, he just like stretches his arms out like Superman and goes wee. So it's hilarious. But Pavon is just amazing and fucking MVP. That's all I have to say. We have the MVP of the league again. I'm happy.
Yeah. So, all right. So you guys are in fourth. Did you see yourself, or did you see? Yeah. Did you see your team up that close to, let's say, the Seattles and the Kansas Cities at this point? Like, even though it's a shoddy kind of season because we had it basically canceled or suspended. Then we had this Mickey Mouse tournament. And then even in the tournament, they didn't look, well at all. So after this tournament that they had, did you even see them anywhere to where they are right now?
No, I saw them in fourth or fifth. And if you go back to our predictions earlier in the year, I know I said second or third, but the reality is I don't think the team would have gelled the way they were gelling. I thought, yeah, the other team down the street, because literally for me it's down the street, but whatever the case, I thought they'd be higher. This whole situation going on, Mickey Mouse tournament and all that aside, it that Mickey Mouse tournament is not an abomination, but it's a what's the word I've been using on Twitter for the recent time. It's a
It was
damn,
like
I
it
can't
was
think of
like
my word.
fraud because it was like
Yeah,
it basically gave you this idea of all these teams that were playing well, were gonna do well, and then the season actually starts up, and most of those teams that play well, yeah, speaking for Portland, it took them a while to actually start rolling. And I
yeah.
think even what the other night they beat Seattle by a very thin line. It was like a last minute goal, or like it was like the last 5 minutes of the game. And Portland are the winners, or were the winners of the MLS's back tournament, and they're struggling. A lot of teams looked on fire in this tournament, and then the season starts and they're not even showing up to play. It looks like so.
No, I'll go back. There was a previous podcast called Bros Talking Soccer, and Dave Canito, who used to run it, they don't do the podcast anymore, but Dave Canito used to say MLS is a when you to play in MLS, you have to have a lot of balls because going away to any team is the worst because you're literally flying across who knows where you're flying to at this point, and that travel does put wear and tear on the body no matter where you go. And now that we're seeing teams that are not centrally localized in one bubble, the travel is getting to these teams. And yes, even though the travel has been condensed to certain parts of the country, going from Seattle to Portland is still going to hit you, right? I mean, going from Nashville to Miami is still going to hit you. So it does that kind of stuff to you. So, and MLS is this league where if you try to predict the road win for your team, you're most likely going to be wrong. You're more than happier going away with a point because all your wins, you should be getting them at home. And that's been MLS from 25 years ago to today. So I'm sorry to say that our team is no, but we're like you said, Mark, we're seeing the effects of everybody being away now from that bubble. We saw the teams that thrived in the bubble, and because they were there in the bubble and they didn't have to do much. And I'm going to say LAFC, they didn't have to travel. They were centrally localized. They had everybody, and they worked well. But now that you travel, well, it starts to get to you, and especially when the other team across across the down the freeway is like, "Yo, guys, check us out. We're winning. Now we're gonna pay for one of your players and for your announcer to make a congratulations video without you guys even knowing it's us."
So yeah, you guys were trolling level 1,000 the other night, which was great. How many did you guys win any games in the MLS's back tournament?
No, everything was a draw. We were sitting in last place. We were literally down bottom feeding and 2 points. That's all we had.
All right, so this is a prime example. So you guys are one spot ahead of Portland. Portland is fifth, and you both have played the same amount of games. Your record is exactly the same, and Portland, as I stated earlier, came out champions of the MLS's back tournament. So it goes to show you that Portland basically had to play like be on fire on a crazy win streak that tournament, and once as soon as they come out, that's when the struggle bus hits, and LA Galaxy having a struggle bus during the tournament, they hit the season running, and you guys have a goal differential of just one, but you guys are scoring now, and by a lot because Portland, for being the winners, their goal differential is a -2, and they're only one spot behind you guys with the same record, basically.
Yeah.
So
So,
yeah, it's interesting to see. And you're right. The away games are the big deal. Like if you don't squeeze out a draw, then you better hope when you come back home that you're getting the win. And that's exactly. Um, I guess we can transition a little bit to Inter Miami, where they've been having the problem. They had a horrible bubble. They had a horrible MLS is back. Three straight losses. Um, and the sad part about them all was very small losses, like last minute, goals let in, just heartbreakers. And then they get the the worst record for starting, what was it, franchise or whatever, like a new
yeah.
franchise. Five losses, and that's not how you want to start. And then we get out of the MLS's back tournament. First game, it's against the good old, supposedly, our older brother. I don't know, whatever you want to call him, but whatever Orlando fans want to call themselves. They come to our house and we give them a nice 3-2 whipping. And that was great. Signs looked, positive from there. And it's like, maybe it was just a tournament, just being confined to a bubble, strict rules, strict regulations, not being able to do such and such. Um, Being away from family, being away from the fans, even though we're not allowed to have fans in the stadiums at this point in time, but I'm sure that the fans, at least our fans, I know, are always outside the gates because it's literally hugging the street. I'm not sure how they enjoy the game. I don't understand what kind of enjoyment you got out of that, but hey, man, you're hardcore. You're more hardcore than me, so I give you props on that one. And Miami, out of all teams in the Eastern Conference, is dead last. We have one win, which was against Orlando as soon as we came out of the tournament. Then we have two draws back to back. One was against Atlanta United at Atlanta. Um, and to be totally fair, it should have been a draw regardless. It could have been 1-1. It could have been 2-2. Both teams missed chances. At times, the game was kind of, dull, and Miami just doesn't have a clinical finisher. And Atlanta is struggling to find their identity once again, opposed to the previous Atlanta United that we've seen in the previous two seasons. Um, and then we lose at Nashville, which was, I believe, the second game we had after the MLS is back, and we lost that one 1-0. So like these little close games, we lose by one, we win by one, then we tied two in a row, and we should have won the last game that we played this past Sunday. So, and it just comes down to not having somebody that can finish in front of the net. And then when we do have somebody that can finish in front of the net, for some reason they don't. Um, Miami is sitting dead last with 5 points, and they've capitalized on 6 goals and they've allowed 11. So they're sitting at a -5 differential. Our rumors are Higuain. At this point, I'm going to be like, you know what? Just bring him. Cavani seems set, has his sights set somewhere else. Luis Suarez has his sights set on Juventus to replace Higuain, um, which in my opinion is kind of like a 1-for-1, but it is what it is. Um, and yeah, we just had Matuidi uh, start his first game for Inter Miami. Great game on his behalf. Great debut. What I liked that I've seen is the connection between the midfield and the defense now. Um, because with just Ulloa and what's his name, a Trap, they for some reason wanted to join Pizarro up front, and then so when we were playing out the back, it's just 4 defenders looking at 5 opposition players, and then the midfield's like hanging out with whether it be Julian Carranza, Juan Agudelo, or whoever. They're just out on the other 18 waiting for a long ball or something. I don't know what Diego Alonso is doing with that, but putting in Matuidi, he was kind of like, you guys kind of have to move back to move forward. Um, and then you saw a little bit more of that. Yeah, there was moments where all our midfield was all the way in the front again, and you're kind of thinking to yourself like, oh, here we go again. But Matuidi, with the knowledge that he has, the amount of trophies, experience, the man's a World Cup winner, Serie A winner, so he knows what he's doing, and he, meets with the defenders, passes, and there was a good amount of link up play between Matuidi and our defenders. Reyes, if anybody wants to argue with me, Reyes has to start every game. There is no excuses for it. Perez, right? That's how you say his name. The new guy, Alfonso Perez, Alonso Perez,
Alonso Pierce.
Alonso Perez. Yes. Good defender, good center back. But he's super iffy at times. Very aggressive, and then sometimes too like just over aggressive. Like just makes a complete miss of a tackle, and the team's like down our throat in our 18, and he has to do this crazy recovery. So I'm still getting used to him. Figal is like a Marcelo on crack. He likes to be with the striker sometimes, and it's like, dude, that's awesome, but it's freaking nuts at the same time. Ben Sweat is super good player. Um, and then Juan Agudelo, get him off, trade him. I feel like we should have traded him, getting him off the books, or just I don't know. We give up Nugent to New England. We give him back to the New England Revolution. The guy constructing our team, I forget his name. He's like, oh, it just makes room for the books, and we have money to play with, and this and that. And I'm like, well, play with some money that you get from dropping Agudelo because that guy is worthless. He tries to do these one-on-ones, ends up looking stupid because he loses the ball. Uh, doesn't have good ball control. It looks like he has no idea what to do when the ball is at his feet. If there's a guy wide open, he goes completely to another guy that's has a man on him. I don't know what we're doing, but those are little things we need to fix. But Matuidi and Pizarro holding down the midfield, I feel like we're gonna, have a good midfield there, and then Carranza finding his own. And to be totally honest, I gave Robinson a lot of crap, Robbie Robinson or whatnot, the last year's college player of the year or whatnot for Clemson. He had a good game coming off the bench. I feel like that might be his niche right now. Come off the bench after Carranza gives maybe 60, 70 minutes, and then he's full of speed. So by the 70th minute, these defenses are tired. Because if I don't know if you noticed it, or maybe it's been like this, and I'm just realizing a little bit more now. But like in the first half of most MLS games, it's like tackle, tackle, foul. Like the stoppage of play is like a lot, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
like very rushed in the first like 15 minutes. But then it's like a lot of stopping, a lot of horrible tackles or just dumb fouls, and then by like the 60th, 70th minute, it's just like very open because both defenses are just dead. And all the players, like all the attacking players, are like kind of like running, but they look like they're running very sluggish.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. I mean, you look at last year's LAFC team and look at Atuesta and Vela, the two that actually, Atuesta who runs that midfield, he thrives off of just coming into a defender's throat, just like really rushing into it. And that's why they were able to score so many goals. They were just coming at defenses and defenses by the time, like you said, Mario, by the time you hit the 60th minute, it's like no one wants to do anything anymore. It's kind of like we're going, and that's MLS. I mean that, and if you get the right coach, like a Bob Bradley, who kind of has that system worked out, okay, yeah, you can thrive in it. But if you get the coach that knows what they're doing, sort of sits back, lets the first 60, 70 minutes go by, then by that time, start lobbing balls over, right? Or having everything cut through the midfield up, the goals will come. And that's how you win every game in MLS, basically.
Yeah, because it's just you like you can watch a lot of the games and the games where there's a lot of goals scored by one team. Like if you watch, I believe Real Salt Lake was it and Minnesota, it
Mm-hmm.
was like a thrashing. Their defense just didn't know what to do whatsoever, and I believe that game finished 5-0,
4-0.
something like that. Four
Yeah.
zero. Okay, yeah. So it's yeah, that's another thing I guess where the MLS it is what it is though. Like I guess I really can't complain if it's a thing with every team, and it just depends on who has the better depth. Ends up working in their favor. Um, but yeah, that's one thing I keep noticing, and it kind of pees me off. At least watching Inter Miami because we'll start the second half on a roller, like we're just controlling the ball, making chances, and then it's just like once that 60 hits, it's just like a total transformation, and it's just like I my guy's barely running to the ball. The defenders are making crazy tackles and not completing them, and then it's just becomes open back and forth. And as exciting as that is, it's kind of nerve wracking at the same time, especially when your team doesn't really know how to score. So if it's like a back and forth 2-2, and then at any point it could be 3-2, then that's all cool. But like my team doesn't know how to do that. So I can't be like, yeah, I love watching this. It's like, damn it, we might lose right here. And that's basically what happens to us. We die out, we flicker out like a candle. Um, and then we get scored on in the 80th. I think there's a stat that they said on Fox Sports the other night when I was watching the Nashville game that we give up the most goals like after the 60th minute or something, or we have this season. And it's true. Like that's how we lost almost every game. And thankfully we didn't do it the last game or against Atlanta United the previous one. So hopefully this this game tonight we can also avoid that. The game is supposed to start in just a little bit, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah. And so, all right, my last question, I guess, for me. Okay, well, one thing, how does the playoffs work this year?
It'll be the same way. So it'll be, what was it, 7 teams, 8 teams will get in. Was it right? I think it was like the top 7 or 8 teams from each side will get it in. And it's just single elimination. That's all it's going to be.
Okay, because here I'm looking at the standings. Eastern Conference, it goes all the way to 10th, and then there's a line drawn, right? And
Yeah.
then the Western, it's 8 teams and a line drawn. But in both conferences, there's 4 teams left out.
Yeah. So that's how it's probably going to work. The
Okay.
the Eastern will probably start off first, and then we'll just whittle it down. I mean, it's better for it to be single elimination. This whole, you know, home and away leg is just no, it's not gonna happen. I mean, the advantage will go to to the teams that have the best records, and that's how it should be at this point. But Miami's sitting in what 14, right?
Dude, yeah, we need a win two, and then the five teams in front of us basically can't win the next two games, and then we'll be in the running. Because right now, the worst team from last season, Cincinnati, is two spots above us. So
Uh,
it's you know
I mean, it's not impossible. I mean, it's MLS, as I said. I mean, everything happens in MLS for some foolish reason. You can just look back, but going back to the whole, and I'll quote Bruce Arena, and not quote him, but I'll say what Bruce Arena used to say: when you play in MLS, you don't build a team. You don't. I mean, you don't build a team to play for 5, 10 years like they do in Europe, right? So take a United where they're buying all these young players because they know they're going to be good for the next 10 years, right? MLS isn't like that. MLS is for the now. So you go out and you buy the best player you can at the best position for a year or 2 years, and then you let them go because then you'll have that money back, and then you'll have someone else coming up, and you'll say, okay, I'm going to get that guy. I'm going to get that guy. That's how MLS works. If most of these teams understood that, then okay, hey, you know what? We have this attacker here. He's available. He's pretty good. Let's give him a 1-year contract. That's all we need. In Miami's case, that basically is all they need. Someone to fucking finish off the ball. So you could have done that. I mean, you keep your DP spot open. Take Nugent's money. Hey, you know what? Here's this guy over here from USL, whatever. Bring him in. Let him go. Boom. You'll have that money back. And that's how it usually works in this league.
you see, but as great as it sounds, like if my team were to win a championship, and then it's kind of like what the Marlins used to do when we won a World Series. It's like, all right, everybody, see you later. Thanks for the championship. And then we suck for another 5 years. And then we won the second one. And then it's just like, see you later again. It's like, that's cool and all because we win a championship. But at the same time, it's like, wouldn't you want to keep the team that
But
got you a
but
championship?
but look at the dynasties in this league, right? So Seattle, right? Seattle has their core players. It may be Morris. Who else is there in there?
Lodeiro, Ruidiaz.
Yeah, so you have your core players. Same thing when the Galaxy was winning there. These Beckhams, the Donovans. You have that. Go back to MLS 1.0 with DC. They have their core players. You keep your core players, but you just build around them. You just okay. This guy doesn't want to stay. All right, later we'll bring in someone else to replace him. So you do that, but you keep whatever makes that engine run.
Okay. Well, hopefully we have at least. I would like to be above that cutoff line. To be completely honest, that is my goal, or my wish for the Inter Miami fans and the team, um, because we talked hella crap. Actually, we didn't really talk too much crap. We just got hyped up. We were told we were going to be good. We were told we were going to get great players, and then we have a stinker at the Disneyland Cup or Disney World Cup, Mickey Mouse Cup, whatever you want to call it. And then we came out swinging, which was great. It looked cool. And then it kind of, we still see the residual effects that we had from the beginning of the season to the Mickey Mouse Cup. So I want to say we get above the cutoff line. Where would you like to see your team finish off? Or are you content where they're at right now and just see what your team is capable of in the
I mean,
playoffs?
at this point, the Galaxy look like they can take the first place spot. Kansas City has made a stinker the past 2 games, so I feel that the Galaxy has within them a squad that actually is working, has their game plan. If Chicha can actually get better, and he does what he does when he was at United, when he was at Madrid, when he was at Leverkusen, stays in the box, stays in the box. You feed him the ball in the box, you'll get those goals. Can I see them winning a championship? I can. Can I see paying off that bet where I'm gonna go blonde at the end of the year? Probably. Do I want that? No, I don't. But I'll gladly go blonde for a 6 star on my shirt.
Yeah, but from the looks of it, yeah, you guys are 3 points off first. And to be honest, their team really that'll give you guys any shot of a battle for first would probably be Seattle.
Yeah,
Um, so because they do have their core players, like we just said, and they know how to win. They know what it takes. They've been to the finals what 3 times in the last 5 seasons, I think, or
four
something like that.
years, 4 years.
So yeah. So you see, and that,
What's
you see, what teams need to do what Seattle does. That's what they
up?
teams need to do. I said teams need
Yeah,
to do what Seattle does.
no, yeah.
Figure that
I mean,
out, and then
Seattle. I mean, Seattle has been the gold standard of this league because they play a certain brand of soccer. Whatever you want to call it, if it's boring to some people, whatever, but it gets the job done. And yeah, they'll lay a stinker in the first half of the league and just be like, whatever. But by the time you start the second half, it's like they turn it on and they don't stop. And by the time they get into the playoffs, who can stop a Seattle team? That's the thing. You cannot bet against a Seattle team within the playoffs. And that's because ever since they came into MLS, they have failed. They have not failed to get into the freaking playoffs.
yeah,
Freaking San Antonio Spurs right there.
pretty much, yeah, and always under a different coach or a just different set of players. They somehow manage to find, and I think the key is they know how to find scorers. They know how to find people that put the ball in the back of the net. And that's you're right. I guess what you pointed out to earlier, just find yourself a scorer, sign him for a quick little deal, and then get into the playoffs. So
I
yeah,
mean, it's that midfield. It's that midfield of Seattle that's worked all the time. That's really the engine.
that's true. Um, so we've all played 10 games, some nine. How many games are we playing in total?
I think 12.
12 games.
I think so, 12 games in total.
So basically, we only have 2 games left.
Yeah, but from what I was hearing, it's supposed to be. This is supposed to be the first half of the season, so there might be a couple more coming through.
Well, I would hope so because if that's the case, then we're SOL. I'm making the cut then for real. Um, so yeah. Anywho, all right. Well, we did our best. Fingers crossed for Inter Miami. Everybody, leave your prayers down in the comments. Um, Sal is looking 10 times better than my team is since the Mickey Mouse tournament. So congratulations, Sal. Um, I was still. It was funny. Like my dad still keeps bringing up the fact that we were supposed to go watch LA Galaxy and Inter Miami right before they decided to just cut all
Just
this shit
cancel
down.
the whole everything.
Yeah, pretty much. So we missed out on that this year, and I guess we'll have to wait till maybe next year. Who knows?
You know what I want to know is who was that player Miami was close to bringing in? Because there was someone who was going to be signed onto that designated player contract, and it fell through.
I'm gonna have to go with David Silva. I'm
You
gonna go
think
with him.
so?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with last second. He regretted it, decided to go back to Spain instead, and that's how he ended up at La Real. So I'm gonna say David Silva, which I don't know. It seems like good because we already have Pizarro, so I'm good with that. I can't complain. So yeah,
Much younger.
yeah, that and he's just as good. What Mexican player isn't decent? Um, so I'm always good with that. I'm not even sure. Is the game started?
It has. I'm watching it right now. They're like, yup.
Like it just started.
It just started. We're in the third minute.
Okay. All right. So people, with that being said, I'm about to go grab my dins aka dinner, and go watch the rest of this 80,000 minutes that are left. Thank you for joining. I know it was a short one, but like we said on Twitter, if you don't follow us at Field Talk Pod, Mondays and Wednesdays from here on out. And if we do miss a day, uh, you have every right to, cuss us out on either social media or social media. That's about it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Even though it was a short one. We just wanted to give a little quick shout out to the MLS, since that is a league that we like to follow. Me and Sal do have a team there, so we just kind of want to update you guys on how that's going for both of us. And as you could tell, one's better than the other. So yeah, with that being said, if you want to follow me at FieldTalk_Benzi at Twitter, you can also follow Sal at Sal Talk Soccer, and the pod at Field Talk Pod, like I mentioned just a little bit earlier, and the boy that hasn't been here for a minute, at Field Talk just underscore. I'll leave all those links in the description. So if you're done watching or listening to this, you can, scribble, scrabble down. And I meant scroll. I just
So
what happened, dude?
close. So close,
So close.
Pizarro.
Who?
So close,
Pizarro.
Pizarro.
I'm telling you, man, we don't finish. We gotta finish the ball, people. I
He
mean,
had,
finish the
he
play. Um,
he had Guzan pulled away. He had him.
all right, so now Sal has me on the edge of my seat. So thank you for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your day, morning, afternoon, or night, whenever you're listening to this. Um, we love you guys, and we'll see you on Monday, unless we update you with some surprise show. I don't know. We'll let you know about that. Anywho, till the next one. Have a great one. Any last words, Sal?
Ciao. Bye.
There you go.